Hello grade 8s, I'm going to go through some examples with multiplication of algebraic terms, okay? We studied this more in detail in chapter 9, but we're going to do some simplified versions, okay? So the first example is I've got x times negative 1. Now my first thing is I need to find out what are my signs. So my sign for my x is positive and my sign for my 1 is negative. So positive times a negative gives me a negative. So I know my answer will be negative, okay? X times 1, so remember we're trying to find a simplified version. So we take the multiplication away. So we've got x times 1 just gives me x. So I have to write this as negative x. Now another way you can look at it is I take the multiplication away, okay? I need to put my number before my variable, okay? So I've got negative 1 times x, all right? And remember, we don't write the 1. So we're left with negative x, okay? Let's look at b times negative 5, okay? First thing I do is I take away my multiplication because I don't want multiplication anymore. So I'm left with b negative 5. But I have to write the number before my variable. So I've got negative 5b. Okay. If I've got 5 times 2 times y, now because I've got 5 times 2, I know what 5 times 2 is. So I just write this as 5 times 2 is 10 times y. And how do I write this? 10y, because I take away the multiplication. Okay, let's do more. So c times 2b times negative 3a. Okay, so I first do my coefficients. So I've got, so I'm going to do this two ways. So first take away your multiplication, okay, because we're simplifying the expressions. We're writing it as algebraic expression. Now I've got c2b negative 3a, okay? This isn't how you write it. So you first have to put the numbers first. But now I've got numbers before c because that's a 1. I've got a number before b and I've got a number before a. So I times it. So 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. And then I write my letters. But how do I write my letters? Remember, you follow the alphabet. So I've got an A, I've got a B, and I've got a C. Okay? So another way you can do this, okay, is first do your coefficients. So I've got 1 times 2 times negative 3, which gives me negative 6. Then I've got C times B times A. So if I write this here, C times B times A, I would have written it as CBA, but I would have had to move the letters around to make the alphabet, so A, B, C. So then it would be A, B, C. Okay. If we do, for instance, 5 minus 3 times R times P. So I first do this, what's in the bracket, because I have to find out what my number is. So 5 minus 3 is 2. So I've got 2 times R times P. Now to write this, I take away the multiplication signs. So it's 2RP. Okay. Then let me do a word sum with algebraic expressions. So a man is X years old, and and his wife is Y years old. Okay, write down an expression for the sum of their years in 10 years time. Okay, so I know the man is X years old and I know his wife is Y years old. So let me actually just make sure that I've got this. So man is X years old. Okay, the woman, so his wife, is Y years old. Okay, now for the man, in 10 years time, how old is he going to be? Okay, because we don't know how old he's going to be, I know I have to take his age plus 10. Okay, so I took his age and I added 10 to get what he will be in 10 years time. For the wife, so that's for the man. For the wife, it will be Y plus 10. Am I right? Okay, so in 10 years time, this is how old she's going to be, because we take her current age and we add 10. Now they still want the sum of their years in 10 years time. Okay, so the sum of their years is I take what the man is and I add what the wife is. So I've got X plus 10 plus Y plus 10. So I've taken the man's age in 10 years time and I've added the wife's age in 10 years time. Okay, now if we look at this, how are we going to write this simply? Okay, we've got X plus Y plus 10 plus 10. Okay, so I've got X plus Y plus 10 plus 10 is 20. So I know whatever their age is, I add them together and I add 20, and I'll be able to get what the sum of their ages are in 10 years time. Okay, please let me know if you don't understand.